Welcome to Book of Magic. I'm Amy Fig, and today I'm sharing my process of tracing and transferring an image into my journal from my new ebook, White Tiger Spirit, and I'll be using carbon paper to do this transfer. I got this at Office Depot, and you can probably order it online as well. Here are a few other pages from my ebook, which I will be getting to in and putting in this playlist. So stay tuned for more tutorials on how to use these. And you can find the link to this ebook down in the description. I'm so excited to be doing this and I can't wait to get started. So you're going to need scissors, you're going to need painter's tape, a pencil to trace, and we're going to cut the image out. I don't want to use the words or the tiger today, and I can do like anything I want with these images, and so can you. Make them your own. So I'm just going to cut around the face and the neck. I'm making sure to leave a space of white area here on the top so that I can put my tape there and be able to lift it up and down so that I can put the carbon paper underneath it. Plus, I'm also seeing where I want it to fit on the page. So you'll see there needs to be space where I'm not taping over the image, and it needs to lift up and down easily to remove and to place the carbon paper underneath there. Make sure the dark side is down, and now we're going to trace over everything we want to be on our page. So I'm going to leave out all of the really super tiny little details in the leaves and just get the basic outline of those. And I keep lifting up just to make sure I've got everything I want on there. And this part is meant to be relaxing and therapeutic. So if you want to put on some music and just zone out while you trace all of these lines and the lines on the flowers as well. So I'm going to go trace all of this and then I will be back. You can pause the video here if you need to. Alright, I have done that, and I'm going to slowly pull this off of here. I love how it's looking. Beautiful. So now I'm taking my pencil and filling in the eyebrows and going at an angle for the little hairs. And then I'm switching the angle here. I'm just filling those in. Now I'm just kind of going over the lines that were there just to darken them a little bit, and I'm going to add shading on the inside of the eye here. Just very lightly. On the outside of the eye. And now I am filling in, well, I'm going to outline the upper lid and lashes and then color those in as well with the pencil. I'm doing this to make sure that I keep the lines dark enough to see them because we're going to be painting on this pretty soon. And let's repeat the same shading method, the inside of the eye here. And then darken that crease of the upper lid and then shade on the outside of the eye. Same thing, outlining the lashes and the eye line on the upper lid and then filling it all in with pencil. Trying to keep both eyes balanced and even looking. Now we're shading across the bottom of the nose. Just very lightly right here. And then darkening that middle line through the mouth and shading in the corners. And a little bit of shading here underneath the bottom lip on the chin. Let's just make the sides of the face stand out a little more and just very lightly come in to give the idea of the cheekbone there. And then there's always some light shading on the neck right underneath the chin. And a little bit across the shoulders. Now we're going to take our blending stump and very lightly make this C shape here, and then a backward C shape here, and just brush across the paper very lightly and towards the nose, and then down the nose a little bit. And when you fade out, you're just lifting up pressure on the blending stump. So when you want it to be darker, you're pressing harder, and then as you move away from the darker areas, you're just lifting up and applying less pressure on the blending stump. This takes practice, and that's exactly why I made this ebook and these videos. You are going to get better at shading your portraits and drawing your portraits all by practicing these techniques. We're doing that C shape again. And I'm blending out all the way to the edge of the face there. Take your time here and pause the video if you need to. I'm just adding a little bit of pencil where I feel it might be uneven. This is really good practice for shading your nose and the mouth as well. We could leave it like this, or I'm going to actually fill in the entire upper lip a little bit. And then across the bottom, leaving like the lighter bit there as kind of a light reflection. And then the ear is back here underneath the hair, so it's going to have some shadow on it too. Just using what's left on the blending stump itself. And then just getting this last little bit across the shoulders. All of this is going to show up really nicely underneath the paint that we're going to be using soon. And now I'm just filling in that pupil area. And I'm going to go ahead and fill it all in solid. and I'll add that little white highlight later with a pen. I'm using this caramel color. It's called Raw Sienna, and this is Liquitex fluid acrylic paint, so it's slightly transparent, and I'm going to be adding some water to it as well because I want to be able to see the shading and the features underneath it. So I'm testing it out on the scratch paper, which I highly recommend. Before you put something straight onto your page, you test it out on a piece of paper. And I'm adding water to it to get it to the shade that I like. And then I'm going to start down here on the shoulders and the neck. I'm never going to put the skin color straight onto the face because I want to make sure it looks okay before I go straight to the face. It's better to make it too light at first, then let it dry and add another layer than to make it too dark right at first. So you want to ease into it and start out with as light as possible. I'm using a medium-sized brush that can cover a lot of area quickly instead of a smaller brush that might show more brush strokes. And I'm moving quickly because this does dry pretty fast. And I'm okay with some streaks of painting because this is a mixed media art piece and I love the imperfections everywhere in it. So for me, I am trying to get the tone as even as possible, but if there are obvious brush strokes that stand out, I'm okay with that. And if I let it dry completely or blow dry it, I can go back with another layer and even it out. Like here, I felt like the neck was a little bit too light, so now I'm adding another layer to make it darker. So this peach color is gonna be for my first flower I'm gonna do. It's by Deco Earth, and I love this paint. It's recycled paint from house paint. It's so luscious and creamy. And this is some more Liquitex fluid acrylic. So it's important that our paint color here is a little bit transparent because we need to see the lines of the flower petals through it. We're going to be outlining those in a little bit, so put your paint on, but allow it to be a little bit transparent. If you start painting and you can't see any lines, you can add a little bit of water to your paint. It's just very important that we can see our lines that we traced, or these are just going to look like two big blobby blobs. But you could add your own petals to them later if you happen to lose the lines underneath. I'm going to make a yellowy green, a warm green color by combining yellow with a teeny little bit of black. This is going to be for the leaves. Yikes. And I feel like, okay, even though that was a teeny little bit of black, it was too much black, so I'm going to have to add some more yellow. You just need the tiniest little dot of black, and you'll get like this warm olive green color. which I love. It's important to be aware when you need to switch brushes. So I needed to get a smaller brush to get into these little tiny places here. So I'm using like this medium sized brush to cover more ground, and then I'll switch up to the tinier brush to get into those tiny little places where there's a lot of detail in there. Now we are switching to a contrasting color to do the outline of the petals. It needs to be darker than the base color, but not so extremely dark that there's too high of a contrast. So I mixed in the red I was using with the same color of the flower, so the red and the peach, and I got this kind of light pink here. So I'm going to use that to outline all the petals. And take your time on this because it's really relaxing. I'm just moving quickly because I want to keep the video at a reasonable length. For the contrasting color on the red flower, we're going to make a little bit darker red by adding either a touch of black, or here I have that super dark green, so I just added that in. But just a tiny little dot of black will give you, with the red, will give you this darker color here. It's a very beautiful contrast. It's not too dark, which would make a very high contrast and possibly look really harsh. This is easy on the eye and it's remaining in the same color family. I'm adding a new color here. It's this Aqua. And I'm using this to do the lines on the leaves. I love these two greens together. They're so pretty. Next, I'm going to use that same raw sienna, or kind of caramel color, to fill in the hair. And this is like some little, I think she has her hair up and then just some little hairs that are hanging down. That's the way I see it. And then I switch to my small brush to get this little detail work in here. And also to touch up any areas where the hair color is uneven. I'm using the same color to fill in the color of the eye. These are just my preferences, and I think that any color eye would look good and any hair color would look good as well. Now I'm filling in the lips. I'm going to make the top lip darker. And then I'm using the same red, but just adding a little bit of water to it so that it shows up lighter. And I'm making the bottom lip a little bit lighter. because it sticks out, kind of juts out, and so the light hits it a little bit more than it hits the upper lip. I'm just blotting it there to give it a lighter look. This would be a great time to blow dry everything so that I don't smear anything that I've already painted. I'm going in with the same brown color for the eyebrows. So I do think it usually looks best when the eyebrows are the same color as the hair color. If they're a little bit lighter, that can also look good. But I'm keeping mine the same tone right now. And now I'm using my Micron pen, which is archival ink and it's permanent so it doesn't smear. Just outlining and filling in that upper lid, eyeliner, and lashes here. And then I'm going to repeat this for the other eye as well. I love how the shading, the pencil shading, is still showing up underneath that acrylic paint. I'm just outlining the bottom of the nose and the nostrils here. And then just taking my time and looking to see what I'd like to outline. And I'm just going to go across the middle of the mouth with the outline here. Now I'm doing my best to draw right on top of those lines that are inside the hair. And if I don't see exactly what's there, I can create my own too. This, oh my gosh, this is so fun. I love having a template that we can all work on at the same time and practice together. Next, let's grab our white gel pen. Mine is by Gellyroll. I love this thing. And we're going to add the highlight in the eyes, the same spot, slightly to the right on each pupil, and the same line on the left for each eye. And personally, I love my white hairs, my silver hair, and I think it would look really good to kind of put these white lines in here to represent my own beautiful white hair that I love. Also, it just kind of brightens up the face, I think. It's so pretty. And I've noticed that like I need to go really slow on these lines or else the ink will, it kind of just breaks up. So this is another time where I can just slow down and enjoy the process. And I don't know about you guys, but I have been like, today in particular, I've been having a day where I just needed to escape my mind and all of the chaos going on in the world. And just slowing down for each one of these steps has really helped me to feel so much better. I feel so calm right now. And I'm just relaxed and loving this. Okay, these are my favorite little chalk pastels and some Q-tips. I got these by collecting them in, they come in a set with like all different colors, and I think I got them at Hobby Lobby, but you can get them probably at Michael's or online. And I just saved all the pink ones over the years. And I'm just going in a circular motion, just lightly skimming the surface. I'm not pressing too hard or anything, and it's just giving me this beautiful rosy glow that you can't get really with paint, in my opinion. Right now we're finished with her, and it looks good with a white background. I could add some writing in the back there, but I think I'm going to use my favorite color of all time, this dark green from Deco Earth, to do the background, because I feel like it would be a really pretty contrast, and then I want to write on it with the white pen. And I'm going to leave you the names of my paints and all my supplies in the description too. So I'm using a bigger brush to cover the bigger areas, and then I'm going to switch to smaller brushes to get in between these little crevices and to get a nice finished look. So now I'm going to write on top of this with my white gel pen, and this works best on matte finish paint. If you try to write on a glossy paint with this gel pen, you're not going to get the best effect. So I'm going to use this repeating phrase, everything is okay, because I really need it today. And just the process of writing it over and over and over again helps me to relax. And I know it's going to be okay. It's just sometimes my mind starts spinning and I can't. I feel like I'm out of control. But if I slow down and repeat these steps, I can feel calm again. And I love how this turned out. I hope you guys try this, and if you want to get this exact image, you can find the link in the description to my new ebook of tracing pages. It's called White Tiger Spirit. It has images of mystical women like these, plus all kinds of white tiger images, and I'm going to be showing you exactly how to use these, or exactly how I use them, and giving you inspiration to make the designs your own in this playlist. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and check out the next video in the playlist on how to use this new ebook. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.